Somebody out there knows who this guy is. Somebody out there does. We need that person to tell us, because I think we're getting closer.
Investigators zeroing in on the man's backpack.
And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late.
An 84-year-old woman taken from her home in the middle of the night, and the person who did it thought they got away clean. They didn't. There is one mistake sitting in evidence right now that investigators are pulling apart piece by piece. And when it breaks, this case is over. Let's get into it. Nancy Guthrie is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, the co-anchor of NBC's Today Show. She lives alone outside Tucson, Arizona. On January 31st, 2026, she had dinner with family and was dropped home. What investigators know happened between 9:50 p.m. That was the last time anyone confirmed seeing her. By the next morning, she was gone. Here is what investigators know happened between 1:47 a.m. and 2:28 a.m. The doorbell camera was physically ripped off the wall. Not a glitch, not a power cut. Someone removed it with their hands. At 2:12 a.m., a motion sensor inside triggered. At 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker app sent its last signal and went completely dark. 41 minutes. One of those drops and said the pattern. The shape of those drops is consistent with blood falling from the nose or the mouth during a struggle, not a hand scrape. Impact to the face. Something happened on that porch that this person did not fully plan for. Now think about who we're dealing with here. This wasn't random. The suspect showed up wearing a mask, gloves tucked into his jacket sleeves, long pants draped over his shoes, dressed specifically to leave zero trace evidence on any surface. He covered the doorbell camera with vegetation before removing it. He knew about the camera before he arrived. He knew the layout of that property. A law enforcement confirmed the suspect had been casing that house for at least a month before he made his move. A second image recovered from a neighbor's camera shows the same person at that location on January 11th, 3 weeks earlier, with no backpack and no weapon, just watching. This was calculated, this was rehearsed. This person did everything right, and then he made one mistake that is going to end him. Before we get into it, if you've been following this case and you want real updates as they happen, subscribe right now. We cover this with facts, no speculation, no drama. Now let's talk about what he left behind. A glove. 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home, in a field off a road, investigators recovered a single glove, visually consistent with the gloves seen in the doorbell footage. The FBI sent it to a private lab in Florida. They extracted DNA from it, unknown male. They ran it through CODIS, the FBI's national database of nearly 19 million convicted offender DNA profiles. No match. Now here's where most people stop paying attention. They hear no match and think the trail is dead. It is not dead. It is just getting started. Because investigators are now running that DNA through investigative genetic genealogy. This is the same exact method that identified Bryan Kohberger as the Idaho student killer when CODIS came up empty. Now, what it does is search publicly available ancestry databases. The same sites millions of people have used to trace their family history. If any biological relative of this suspect, a cousin, a parent, a sibling, ever uploaded their DNA to one of those platforms, investigators can start building a family tree. They narrow it down, they cross-reference age, location, physical description, and they get a name. C.C. Moore, the forensic genealogist who cracked Kohberger and dozens of other cases, I said publicly she has full confidence that genetic genealogy will identify whoever left DNA on that glove. Full confidence. That is not a maybe, that is a countdown. And that glove is not the only mistake. The backpack. The suspect was carrying a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiking backpack, visible in the doorbell footage. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos identified it as appearing to be sold exclusively at Walmart. They went to Walmart locations across the state pulling sales records, checking store cameras, tracing every transaction. And then on March 2nd, 2026, Sheriff Nanos told NBC News that investigators now believe the backpack may have been bought secondhand. possibly through eBay. Not from a store, from a private resale. Here's what the suspect probably thought. Buying it used makes it untraceable. Here's what they didn't think about. eBay keeps records of every transaction. Seller data, buyer accounts, shipping addresses, payment methods. Every single one of those details is documented and retrievable with a federal warrant. The chain doesn't disappear because it changed hands twice. It just gets longer. Investigators are following that chain right now. Still here. Good, because this next one might be the detail that gets him caught before the DNA even comes back. Comment below, what do you think is going to break this case? The glove, the backpack, or what I'm about to tell you? The holster. The same doorbell footage that captured the backpack also shows the suspect wearing a gun holster. Sheriff Nanos looked at that footage and said on record that the holster has what he described as pretty unique characteristics. Not generic, specific enough that his team is currently going to gun shops across the region, showing that footage to employees asking one question. Have you seen this before? A distinctive holster has to come from somewhere. It was made somewhere. It was sold somewhere. Whoever sold it may remember it. Whoever bought it may have paid with a card. That is a thread being pulled right now. The ring. This is the detail nobody's talking about, and it might be the most important one in this entire case. Investigators analyzing the doorbell footage frame by frame noticed something underneath one of the gloves. A possible ring. Sheriff Nanos confirmed it publicly. He could see it. He had passed it directly to his forensics team for analysis. Think about what that means. This person covered every inch of skin deliberately. Gloves tucked into sleeves, face completely hidden, everything done to leave zero identifying information, and then underneath one of those gloves, a ring. Something so habitual, so daily, that they didn't even register it needed to come off. A ring can be described. A ring can be recognized. Someone who knows this person, someone who has sat across a table from them, someone who has seen that ring on that hand, can identify it. That is not forensic evidence. That is personal evidence. And personal evidence is how people get caught. Now put it all together. The DNA on the glove is already inside a genetic genealogy lab being processed right now. The backpack resale chain is being traced through eBay's transaction records. The holster is being shown to gun shop employees across Tucson. The ring is being analyzed frame by frame. And on top of all of this, on March 2nd, 2026, Sheriff Nanos sat down with NBC News and said his investigators are definitely closer. Those are his words, definitely closer. He said his homicide unit has a dedicated team working alongside the FBI. He said they have information they are not releasing publicly. 40 to 50,000 tips have been processed. And he said directly, as long as we have leads to chase, this case is not cold. This person planned for months. They studied the house, and they chose their clothes deliberately. They removed the camera. They timed the 41-minute window, and they still left a glove on the side of a road 2 miles away with their DNA on it. They still carried a traceable backpack. They still wore a distinctive holster. They still couldn't take off a ring. Nobody commits a perfect crime. Nobody. And the more carefully you plan, the more specific the details you choose, the more of yourself you leave behind without knowing it. Nancy Guthrie has been missing 32 days. She is 84 years old. She needs daily heart medication. Her daughter Savannah, her son Cameron, and her daughter Annie put flowers and a handwritten card outside her home just 2 days ago. The card read, though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns bright. If you know anything at all, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. The family has put up $1 million. The FBI has added $100,000. It can be paid completely anonymously. And if this video gave you something the headlines didn't, share it. Put it somewhere someone else will see it. Subscribe, because when this case breaks, when that DNA comes back with a name, when that arrest happens, you will hear about it here. And leave a comment. What detail do you think is going to close this case? The glove and the DNA? The ring? Or is there something else in this case you think people are sleeping on? Tell us below. Hey, we read every single one. Nancy Guthrie deserves to come home, and whoever took her left a trail. They just haven't realized it yet.